from Asmara, this is ERi-TV English News broadcast for Saturday evening, June 27. The time is exactly 10:30 p.m. right now. Good evening to you, and let's begin with the top stories. Soil and water conservation popular campaign in the central region. Monetary support extended to families of martyrs. U.S. threatens to cut gas supplies to EU. Bangladesh and China sign pacts. Great to have you. Let's proceed with our reports. Members of the PFDJ in the civil service in Berriq subzone have conducted a soil and water conservation popular campaign. Mrs. Rahawa Qaleta, secretary of the PFDJ in the subzone, said that the popular campaign, which started in January 2026 in 12 administrative areas and 21 villages, is being carried out in accordance with the guidance of the Ministry of Agriculture. The campaign includes the preparation of holes to plant 4,000 tree seedlings on 5 hectares of land. Mr. Major Mengistab, head of the Agriculture Office in the subzone, said that so far terraces have been constructed on 1,200 hectares of land. Mr. Major went on to say that there is a plan to plant over 350,000 tree seedlings in the coming rainy season and called on residents to strengthen participation for the successful implementation of the program. The residents on their part expressed readiness to strengthen participation in the program. Employees of the Fish and Maritime Corporation in the port city of Massawa have extended 54,000 nafa in support of 7 families of martyrs. Noting that the initiative taken by the employees of the corporation creates spiritual satisfaction, Mr. Fitsum Zakaras, head of the administration and finance of the corporation, said that the initiative will continue in earnest in the future, indicating that the initiative to support families of martyrs is growing from time to time. Mr. Ismail Usman, head of the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare branch in the Northern Red Sea region, said that the support attests to the respect and honor of the Eritrean people have for martyrs and their families. My Habar Technical School has graduated 143 students, including 55 female students, in certificate program. Mr. Tesfazgi Abraha, director of the school, indicated that after 2 years of theoretical and practical training, 24 students graduated in auto mechanics, 23 in construction, 25 in electricity, 23 in electronics, 24 in plumbing, and 24 in woodwork. Underlining the importance of skilled labor in economic development of the country, Mr. Ma'asho Gabratinsae, head of the Follow-up and Education Capacity Assurance at the Ministry of Education, called on the graduates to strengthen participation in the nation-building process with the knowledge they gained from the training. At the graduation ceremony, outstanding students were presented awards by Mrs. Atisfa Mikael, President of the National Union of Eritrean Women, and other officials. My Habar Technical School, which was established in 1997, has so far graduated 5,321 students, including 703 females. The annual Eritrean Community Festival in Italy officially commenced today, 27 June, under the theme Our Resilience, Our Guarantee. The festival was opened by Mr. Feshatzion Petros, Eritrea's ambassador to Italy. At the event, a photo exhibition under the theme Nerkado, reflecting the peace demonstration of diaspora nationals against the illegal sanction imposed on Eritrea, was presented. The annual festival will feature cultural and artistic performance by renowned artists from Eritrea. We're moving on from domestic matters to global events right after this. In our global affairs, the U.S. has warned the EU that American liquefied natural gas, LNG, could be diverted elsewhere unless Brussels eases planned methane emission regulations. The move signals a growing willingness by Washington to leverage its dominant position in Europe's energy market. The EU replaced much of its Russian pipeline gas with American LNG following the escalation of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022 and the imposition of sanctions on Moscow. The shift made the US the bloc's largest external gas supplier and was hailed by its leaders as a step toward greater energy security. Europe's energy crisis has worsened since then, with gas and electricity prices soaring to record. US Energy Secretary Chris Wright said American exports could flow somewhere else if the EU refuses to change the rules, which are due to take effect in 2027. Under the new regulation, imported gas will have to meet strict methane monitoring, reporting, and verification standards comparable to the imposed on EU producers. Brussels argues the measures are essential to cutting emissions of one of the world's most potent greenhouse gases. The US has joined Qatar, Algeria, and Nigeria in urging the EU to amend or delay the legislation. Exporters argue there is no practical way to comply because America's sprawling network of gas fields, pipelines, and processing facilities make it difficult to measure methane emissions for individual LNG cargoes. EU Energy Commissioner Dan Jorgensen rejected calls to weaken the legislation, insisting the bloc would not compromise its environmental standards despite pressure from suppliers. Bangladeshi Prime Minister Tariq Rahman held bilateral talks with Chinese Premier Li Qiang during his first official trip to Beijing. 13 memorandum of understanding spanning various sectors were also signed following talks between Rahman and his Chinese counterpart. A pact on the China-Bangladesh-Mongla Port Economic Zone aimed to facilitate the development of the industrial zone adjacent to Mongla Port was also signed as part of an Invest Bangladesh seminar. The two prime ministers held bilateral talks focusing on the strengthening cooperation in trade, investment, infrastructure development, and other areas of mutual interest. China is Bangladesh's largest overall trading partner, dominating bilateral trade primarily through imports such as industrial machinery, electronics, and textile raw materials. Bangladesh imported goods worth $18.56 billion from China in fiscal year 2025, while exports to the country stood at $694.49 million. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding assumes significance as a trade deal with the U.S. was signed by Bangladesh, then interim government led by Nobel laureate Mahmoud Yunus, just 4 days ahead of national election in February. We're about to end our news broadcast, but here's a final look at the top stories before we sign off. Soil and water conservation popular campaign in the central region. Monetary support extended to families of martyrs. U.S. threatens to cut gas supplies to EU. And Bangladesh and China sign pacts. That's all the news for the session. On behalf of the entire news crew, thank you for watching. I'm Salim Bahana, wishing you a great